Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Dick jokes, bullshits. Wow, my life. Like, what do you want from me?
My wife.
And there it is, baby. Welcome to Into the Twilight.
What, Cody? What do you want from me? Do you want to know that I sobbed to "Angel" by Sarah McLachlan today for real?
Oh my god!
Like, what do you want from me?
You're bringing up so much energy at the start of this. What?
It was meant to be a bit, and then I actually started sobbing. Okay. Like, what do you want from me? Is this the kind of content that you're looking for? Welcome to Into Twilight, alright?
If that isn't indicative of your whole life and brand, then I don't know what is. Listening to Sarah McLachlan as a bit and then just sobbing by the end of it.
Yeah, the worst part was that, like, one of my middle schoolers definitely saw me just, like, openly weeping in my car, and I was like, I'm just gonna deal with this tomorrow. So, hi, Cody.
Hi, what's up?
First of all. Also, hello to this mysterious new guest that we have.
Who am I?
Well, would you mind introducing yourself, please, and thank you?
Hello, my name is Jacob Emmanuel Shao.
Jesus Christ,
I'm
Jacob.
21 years old, and I like to have fun.
And what's your sign?
My sign, I am a Virgo, but I believe just barely.
Cool.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, that's good
yeah.
to know.
Does that affect your sign? If you
I'm a
almost were
diet
different
Virgo.
sign?
I'm a lightly reduced Virgo.
I'm a Virgo zero sugar, actually. Well, that's good to know, Jacob. Welcome to the space.
Thank
That
you.
will be really valuable when we're talking about Bella Swan. Oh, shit. Different season.
Cool. Nice, dude.
Cool. But you'll be bringing incredibly valuable content to this. Especially because we have another character, Anastasia Steele, who was also born in September. So, what the hell? It'll work out great.
Wow.
Amazing.
I am incredibly happy that we have someone else here. Because we've had... Cody, has there been one other guest?
I mean, technically there were two of them.
Well, yes. We've had the crazy.
Right.
So that's
It's been a hot minute.
It's
been a hot minute.
It's been over a year since we've had a guest.
Was it Breaking Dawn Part 1?
It was.
Yeah. Wow.
It was Breaking Down Part 1.
Ugh.
So it's been
So many movies ago.
Yes. Speaking of movies, you are incredibly prepared for today. And that makes me a little bit emotional, if I'm being honest, which then makes me upset because you're so prepared, and that makes me incredibly happy for this movie of 50 Shades Freed. Cody, before we can get to that, though, we should talk about current events with Jacob. It's Jacob, I'm going to be honest, it's really hard to say your name without screaming it like I do Jacob Black. Like, I'm trying...
I imagine that my name must interact weirdly with this podcast.
Incredibly so.
Yeah. The intersection
every
is
time
there.
I'm making a
Yeah.
concerted effort to say your name and not scream it out, and that's
Please be nice
That's
to our
just
guests.
yeah.
It's not just yell.
I totally understand because there was a point where I had to watch all the Twilight movies in one evening for
No,
work.
wait, hold on. What the
And-
fuck? Tell me more.
We for my job marathoned the Twilight movies, and the 2 months following that was just Twilight season for us. So it was just incredibly confusing. Turns out Jacob is a primary character in the series.
Yeah, yes, he is. Yeah.
So I'm happy to be primarily discussing 50 Shades, where my name is not Christian.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Yes.
That's a relief.
Now, I know a little bit about this from your content, but can you tell me and the rest of our show about your experiences with Twilight, please?
I absolutely can. So, my first experience with Twilight ever was years ago Not that many. Like 2 years ago,
Eons.
I was on a
Decades.
date.
Eons, decades ago.
It was
So
a different
long
man
ago,
then.
yeah. No, I was an adult at this point, but I was on a date. You know how when you're on a date, you can't just say, let's hook up after we finish our food. You have to say, do you want to watch a movie or something?
Right.
So
Sure,
we had
totally.
done that. You got to pretend
Sure.
nothing's happening. So we both were pretending we were interested in the idea of watching a movie. And then we went back to her dorm room, and she was like, what movie do you want to watch? Clearly it didn't matter, but I was like, I've never seen Twilight.
Oh my god.
So we picked it off the shelf. She had it in DVD form,
My hero.
and we played it. And in retrospect, the movie was so much more interesting than any experience I had following it.
Oh.
I wish I had just watched the full movie. We stopped paying attention to the movie at the baseball scene, which
Oh
was
my
dope.
god.
Yeah, so good. Like a year after that, for work, we were marathoning the entire thing because we watch movies and talk over them. And we did that for all of Twilight. And I was delighted to see that the series goes on past the baseball scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome.
But it's unfortunately not just baseball scenes, which
No.
would
If
have
it
been the
was
best.
a baseball movie, I'd be in.
Yeah.
I want to know more about A League of Their Own, but mashed up with Twilight.
Oh,
Mm.
yes.
Just a team of gay immortal vampires. Just
Literally,
who
that's all
really
we've
love
been wanting
baseball.
from Twilight. A, the baseball shit is like 2 seconds long, and B, nobody as gay as you want them to be. That would
Nope.
solve all of our problems.
Is no one in Twilight gay?
Jacob, we don't have time.
I take it this has come up before.
There is not enough time in this world
Yeah.
to tell you about the dissertation that we have created over the past 2 years.
We
Oh my
could have
God.
like a collective TED talk about this.
We'll have that another time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad though that you know about the saga and that you've also started to immerse yourself in 50 Shades coming into this space. That will
Mm-hmm.
that will be more of a valuable, nuanced conversation there. It's nice to know that though, because you will be familiar with Robert Pattinson, hopefully, and not just as Edward
Intimately,
Cullen.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, Cody, would you mind doing me the honor of talking about one of our first current events, please?
Well, the internet's done it again. They've done a bad thing. They've done a really bad thing. And that is that people are tossing around the idea of like, oh, who should be the next Batman? There's been some contenders in the race. One of them that has come up has been Sir Robert Pattinson, because someone
Sir.
made the Sir, he's knighted. Because someone made this horrible image of him, like, with a shadowed, like, Batman behind him, and I hate looking at it.
It's so grainy,
Yeah.
first of all.
Yeah. It's like they tried to make it look, like, aged, like, because definitely with, like, the hair that's happening and the suit, like, it definitely looks like, well, he's, like, an older, it's an older time period. It's, like, an older photo or whatever.
Right.
But it just looks dirty. Like a
It
dirty
does.
photo.
Somehow, my instinct is to rub my laptop, but there's nothing on there except for a really shitty piece of fan art.
I'm looking at this photo now,
Yes.
and I'm just going to say right now, this is horrible fan art. I'm going to give this like a 3 out of 12. First off,
What an arbitrary scale.
it's like a Google Images photo of Robert Pattinson that they dragged directly from the images page, so it's low quality. And then they just like decreased the exposure behind him, and that's it. That's the whole thing.
Jacob, I love when you talk science to me.
I need everyone to click on the actual little button that says credits because it gives you a full-sized image.
Oh,
That
you
actually
weren't
looks-
there?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh, welcome to the space.
Oh, wow, there is a full image.
Right, like that one looks at least better than the shitty cropped legs.
Yeah, the full image of, like, our Pats as the Batman here just straight up looks like a cutout.
Yeah.
Like a flat Stanley of our
Yes.
Pats with what to me doesn't look like a Batman in the background so much as just like one of my cats. Like that is the
I was
shadow of
about
my
to
cat.
say the same thing. What is that a shadow of?
Yeah, that's not Any Batman I know.
Honestly, this looks like some sort of vague fan art about Puxatawny Phil, if I'm being honest.
Oh my god.
And that's just how I feel about it.
Oh, okay, but Robert Pattinson in a Groundhog Day reboot, I could fucking get down with that. Are you kidding me?
That tells me a lot.
I'm all the way in.
Now, just stay with me in the space for just one more minute. If our Pats was Batman, who is his Alfred?
Oh god.
Taylor Lautner.
Oh no.
Who else could possibly be Alfred?
Just a buddy.
And he would do a British accent.
Oh my Christ.
I think it would hurt to listen to him try to do a British accent.
Oh no.
And also Allie would explode, for sure.
I would pass out.
Combust into flames.
I would never leave the theater is the problem. I hate this. I hate the idea of it. Mainly because there shouldn't be any more Batman movies, but that's just a personal take on that series.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just let it die. That's all I'm saying. Just let it die. I want to talk about a mood here that I don't want to die. And it is Jamie Dornan on this piece from The Express. He's promoting this, what is it, a biopic? Was he with Rosamund Pike? I don't know.
Yes.
Whatever. You know, his new movie called Not 50 Shades? I don't know.
Yep, that's the one.
The reason why I love this article so much is the fact that he's calling this biopic, like, incredibly emotional. He's crying all the time. It's so valuable. It's the most important thing you've ever seen in the whole world. And so we look at these screen caps and the screen caps of this interview that he's having with who's the fucking... Oh, it's the photographer of Paul. And it looks... I've never seen a photo of a man being mansplained before. But that's what this looks like to me.
Yeah.
What do you think he's saying in that photo?
To me, it looks like actually, because he's doing the hand thing.
Yeah.
And that's what it gives off to me. What do you think he's saying?
I think he's saying, really the through line in the 50 Shades movies is family.
Oh, God.
He looks like he's just giving the biggest sigh internally that he cannot express out loud. But it's like, I will just hold this forever. I will die with this sigh in my body.
And we've seen our Pats make this face as well.
Sure.
And it just gives them a kinship that I would have never expected.
They're blood brothers.
Do you think that they've talked? Have they shared their experiences?
They have to have, right?
I don't know. If nothing else,
if I were
hope,
either of them, I would be having regular game nights with each other.
Yes,
oh my God.
That would be so good. I need K-Stu and Dakota Johnson to be best friends. I need that for me, personally.
And then they could couple swap.
Yeah,
great. Yep.
Except we can't because
works.
Dakota Johnson's dating the dude from Coldplay for some reason.
Chris Martin?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
I'm still so mad about it. I don't know why I'm so unreasonably angry about it, but I hate it.
And somehow, and listen, I don't like to get political in this space, but somehow watching the Super Bowl made me angry at Coldplay, and I don't know why. And so I am angry at Chris Martin by proxy.
Sure.
After watching that halftime show. So I don't even want to hear his name anymore.
Are you saying that all mediocre bands full of white guys remind you of Coldplay?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Jacob. And also all the bands that I used to love in middle school that are just absolute trash now.
Yo, I used to love Maroon 5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Maroon 5 and Coldplay used to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
Each other.
Actually, I stand by my statement. Don't fact check me.
Listen, the early 2000s were a crazy time for rock and roll.
They made some beautiful albums, you know? That
Songs
music
about Jane bops too hard.
to not be about another man, you know what I mean?
Songs about Chris.
That's
Oh
what
my
I'm saying.
Am I allowed to leave my own podcast? Can I just can I get out of here?
I want you to commit to that bit and hang up right now.
You don't have the guts.
Okay, fuck. We're almost there. We need to talk about Miss Bala. And I'm sorry to say that, but we have to for just like 1 second.
It happens.
Mainly because there's new photos that have come out about Catherine Hardwicke on the set of Miss Bala. And first of all, I want to say, I think she's a vampire. Just right off the bat.
All right, well.
She hasn't aged at all, Cody. It's been a decade.
That is fair. That's a fair assumption to make.
The only time that doesn't happen is when white women aren't racist. And like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's just a vampire.
You're unwilling to get rid of the assumption that she's probably racist.
I think she's just racist.
Oh my God.
And also just a vampire. Because, like, you know what I mean? Shit happens.
A racist vampire.
Now, to be fair, those new quotes about Twilight did come out, and it did seem more like it was on Steph and not Catherine. So, like, I think Catherine's probably all right. But she does look like a vampire.
We can never be sure, and we can never trust anyone. So we just have to place our bets here.
No, I don't trust anyone. Anyway, she looks the exact same, and I'm pretty sure she has, like, the same exact outfits. Anyways, it's all a conspiracy theory, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh my God.
Now, even though I pulled this last one, I do need you, Cody, to read it out for Jacob and I, please.
Oh, God.
I'm ready.
If only just the question. That's
sure.
at the top.
This is from a site called Female First. Am I right, ladies? Am I right, ladies? And the question is, what does it mean if I dream about vampires?
Now, listen, we've all done this. Listen, hey.
Don't speak for everyone. You can speak from your personal experience.
Hey.
I don't know.
Hey, is this mic
I think
on?
everyone has.
Hey.
I can't believe I'm getting ambushed on my podcast.
I think everyone has.
Now, what I love most about this article is that there's two things about here. They draw a binary about vampires.
Yes.
One is they say if you consider them to be like sexual figures. And then the thing that makes me sad is that they say if you consider the vampire more like a Nosferatu. And now, if you know my opinions about Nosferatu fucks. He can get it.
Oh my God.
Is this a previously established opinion, or are we just hearing about this now?
Yeah, no, Allie, the amount of times that Allie has said Nosferatu can get it in this podcast space is too many.
I'm sure that you've already gone into this, but can you give me the elevator pitch for why Nosferatu can get it?
All I'm trying to say is I just don't understand why I have to explain this opinion. Like, he is...
Dude, are you confused?
He is a figure whom others are compared to when they are not gettable.
Well, listen. All I'm saying is that like, when you think of Byronic heroes, you obviously think of Nosferatu. And listen, I'm just saying that, like, I love a striking eye. That's all I have to say.
You know what? I'm looking at photos of him right now, and I think I have to agree.
There's one of a Nosferatu. Now, is it fan art? Maybe, but it's Nosferatu on a, like, Fabio-style chest. All I'm saying, he can get it. Nosferatu fucks.
Cannot be on board with
Google
this even
searched
a little bit.
Nosferatu hot.
Oh,
okay.
And I'm not finding it. I'm not seeing it. Okay, instead I have looked up Nosferatu sexy, and I have now found Nosferatu on a female body.
Oh.
That's coming for Allie's bisexual brand.
True.
Yeah, it looks like you have options, Nosferatu speaking.
I also see Nosferatu's face on a bodybuilder, and that's a little bit too much. So, all I'm saying is Nosferatu fucks, and I don't know why I have to keep reiterating that fact. Listen, sometimes you just want someone to suck the life out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that before, but I did not realize the context.
That's all I have to say. And
Hello.
that's the end of the conversation. I've decided.
All right.
Allie just got a soundboard where she's just cueing the end of bits.
No, the
with
real
real
joke,
life sounds.
The real joke is I can just throw my voice just really far. I try not to unleash it too much.
It's so powerful.
Now, this is a good question for all of us, Jacob included, because I know that Jacob is now a savant of this series. One of our patrons, Sophia Brady, asked, what was our favorite part of the entire 50 Shades of Grey series?
Wow. A great question.
Yeah, Jacob, why don't you start?
Jacob's the most fresh in his mind.
That's true.
Yeah, so I watched 50 Shades Darker yesterday, and I watched 50 Shades Freed today. So this is all very fresh in my mind.
That's so
Let me scan my notes real quick.
Wow.
I have a few contenders, so I'll just list those, and then
Please.
we'll see if we can find what my favorite is. I think that 50 Shades Freed has the funnest moments in it.
Sure.
So I think it's
Yeah.
got to be from 50 Shades Freed. I think it might be... Here's what I think it is. I think Sawyer, the bodyguard, is a great
Yes.
character.
Yeah.
He's
I
so good.
want a whole movie about it. Just... throughout the movie, I couldn't stop imagining, like, Anastasia and Christian are off doing some bullshit, and then he calls up his friend, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Things are getting crazy around here. He was mad at her, so he was about to fuck, but then he didn't, and she got mad, and then they handcuffed to the ceiling. I don't know, man. He's like freaking out. He's like, she just stole a car. I don't know. I gotta chase her. I gotta chase Mrs. Gray. So I like Sawyer a lot.
I want to read Sawyer's blog.
Yes.
Really bad.
Oh, Sawyer's got to have a great blog. I think that the opening parts of 50 Shades Freed are legitimately fun and completely unproblematic until the whole, like, put your boobs away thing happens. But before that, it's, like, nice. I felt good watching it.
Ooh, Jacob. Okay. Yep, I cannot wait to talk about that. Yes.
I think I have my favorite moment from the whole series.
Please.
I just remembered it. I liked when, in 50 Shades Darker, Christian performs magic on Layla, and he's like, kneel, and she's like, no. He's like, you've seen the televangelists who are like, the power of the Holy Spirit be in you, and then they like freak out and fly out of the room? He did that to Layla, and then was like petting her head, and that was the only moment in the series where I sat up.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, he
I liked
straight
that.
up did like the power of Christ compels you, and yeah, I get it.
He did that, and she dropped so quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody, what stands out to you?
It's not like my most favorite thing, because actually when I think about it, it does make me a little angry, but it's something I'm always thinking about, and it fascinates me, and that is, of course, Anna's very famous tea recipe.
Oh my god.
Which I don't think ever gets visualized in the movies, at least to my understanding. Maybe in the
Just-
first one.
I was about to say, do I know
Just
about
in the
tea?
first one.
Yeah, probably just in the first one. So, Anastasia Steele does not know how to drink tea. First of all, she's, like, obsessed with Twinings English breakfast tea because she thinks that's the most high-class, like, best tea there is. When it's the most generic tea.
Yeah, it's
And-
a hotel tea.
Yeah, it's just like a hotel tea, and she gets so offended when there's other types of tea that are probably better for her. And then she's like, fuck this, it's not Twinings. And then, when she actually makes the tea, she has her, like, hot water in her cup or whatever, she puts it back in it and immediately whips it out. And it just, like, it doesn't even get any of the tea in there. It's just, like, a whisper of tea.
She's basically drinking microwaved LaCroix.
Absolutely, that is what's happening. And it's it happens so much in the book, and it's so infuriating, but so funny.
Yeah, you have to imagine that happens every time that something stressful happens, which is all the time.
Yeah.
It's awful. Okay, if I have to think about my favorite thing, it's gotta be the IHOP scene, which is tragically cut from the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the first one, I think. Yeah, the first book, where they go to Georgia and they fly on those like swoop-de-swoop planes. Hey, that's a listen. I know what face you're making right now. Don't. It's the swoop-de-swoop planes, the ones that they go whomp, and they have no gravity. And after that, they were, in the book anyways, they go to IHOP and Christian and Anna almost fuck on the table. So,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
They should have. They should have done it.
Yeah.
On top of some half-off appetizers Tuesday nights.
Right. You know,
Wait, that's Applebee's. Never mind.
oh, but I
How
would
could
give
I?
them to fucking Applebee's.
Just $1 margarita, you know what I mean?
Yes. Anna's
Oh my
like,
God.
Christian, you're too inaccessible. You don't understand how the real world works. Like, I'm gonna take you down to Applebee's.
Is that real?
Fucking get it.
Was that the rationale for going to IHOP?
No, he just really wanted pancakes, I think. And
Well, where
that's-
else to go but the House of Pancakes?
Listen.
I love this idea, though, of Anna being like, Christian, you really don't understand how us middle-class people live. I'm going to take you to my hometown and show you a really good place. And then she takes him to a fucking chain of Applebee's.
Hell yeah.
I love that so much.
Can I revise my favorite moment from the movies?
Please do.
Okay, this is from the movies specifically.
Okay.
I think my favorite moment has to be during the first movie in the opening credits when I first saw the words "Music by Danny Elfman."
Tell me more.
I pooped.
Okay.
I saw that and was like, oh, all right. And then for the remainder of the series, I waited. I waited for a beautiful, twinkly theme.
Yes.
Something a little spooky, maybe. I got nothing.
No.
I got some generic strings,
Yeah.
probably digital. And then I got the shittiest cover of I Feel Good that I've ever heard in my life. And that was the music.
Just a lot of sexy pop hits.
I was just thinking about this today. All the music in the movies is like covers of songs, and it's the same, but just with a baby voice. It's like, I feel good. And I just started thinking, like, what the potential for this is incredible. I think that if this soundtrack sold well, which I think it did.
It did.
did.
Yeah.
Wha- Oh, well, in that case, I mean, name a song, you know? It could. Bob the Builder, can he do it? Yes, he can. That right there could have been a hit.
Hey, future Cody, can you clip that for me so I can make that my ringtone? Thank you so much. Please and thank you. Now I'm thinking about it, right? Because there's major songs that came off these, and I want us to get to the music from this one specifically because sweet Jesus. But if you think about like "Love Me Like You Do," right? That's some baby voice right there. I get you. I get you.
Yeah. Major baby voice.
you do. Touch me like you do. That's the whole thing.
Yep. That's
It
exactly
is grating to listen to.
Honestly, you could blindfold me. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's basically just
Good.
a Pepsi Coke comparison right there. You know what I mean?
And I'm Coke.
Great.
Yeah.
Pepsi, more than okay. You know what I mean? Isn't that their branding right now? I'm pretty sure I watched that commercial this weekend.
None of us are the brand managers for Pepsi.
Okay, none of you
Inconclusive.
none of you watched the Super Bowl with their commercial about more than okay.
I had so
Wow.
much work to do. I had to edit this
Fucking-
podcast. Thank you very much.
Fucking posers.
I did see more than okay.
All right. See, all right, whatever.
Great.
Okay, so speaking of more than okay, let's talk about 50 Shades Freed,
Pew, pew, pew.
which got a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Hell yeah.
which seems about right.
Cream of the crop, baby.
How does that compare to the rest of the series?
It's about right. I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna look up.
Adequate.
Because I feel as though 50 Shades Freed is the most enjoyable one by miles.
50 Shades Darker
think
has
I would
12%.
agree. Yeah.
I think 50 Shades Darker was the worst one. That was the one where I was upset for the most runtime.
Okay, I was wrong. 50 Shades of Grey has the best out of all of them. It's a 25%.
Damn.
Yep.
Fair enough, I guess.
People just stayed. They watched that one and they were like, "Nope, I'm done."
Sure.
The last thing that I want to do before we talk about our initial thoughts is they shot 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed at the same time in both
Really?
Paris and Vancouver, BC.
That's
So know that.
bananas.
Well, I wish I knew that watching them. That sort of changes the game for me.
So that's wild. And while they were doing that, to keep the hype off, they were titled, the working titles of these were Further Adventures of Bax and Bakes 2 and 3.
Love that.
That's great.
So that's an important information to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they use the same filming method as such classics as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I wonder if 2 movies worth of sex scenes really weighed on them.
I mean, they did mention that, like, by the end of this, they fucking hated each other. So,
Sure.
like, they had, like, no chemistry. And also just the script is incredibly draining on someone's psyche. So that's fair.
Yeah. And also, I think I would just hate sex from there on out. I'd be like, no booty anymore.
It's over.
It's done. Booty is done. Booty's canceled.
There's an embargo on the booty. Okay.
Oh my god.
Now, I have mentioned that throughout all of these, I've watched the unrated ones. Cody, or did you watch the rated or the unrated one?
I think I did the rated one.
Okay, Jacob.
I cannot be sure. I think they are the rated ones, but what I can definitely say is I watched all of them in 360p.
Jacob, how do you even know that there were sex scenes then?
I am not fully sure because one of the pixels was violently moving against the other.
Okay, can I talk about my link, the copy that I watched? Because
Please.
I think it was I was grateful. I think it was the rated one, and I was grateful for that because it was by far the shortest one we've had yet. Like, mine was an hour and 45 minutes. The other ones have been like over 2 hours long. One, 50 Shades Darker, I think, was like 2 hours and like 20 minutes or something.
Right.
Dude, I think I watched the unrated ones then because all of them were over 2 hours.
Okay, well, the last one, the rated version, I guess, is 145. But
Yeah, this one was, the unrated was 145.
yeah.
Oh, well,
s-
then I don't know what to say. I saw a version that was 8 hours
Yours
long.
had commercials.
But every time like someone was texting or like sending an email or something, there were subtitles at the bottom in Russian.
Hell yeah.
Hell
all
yeah.
the texts.
Duh.
And they were huge. They were like the full lower third. So aggressive. Sometimes they were covering that phone and was showing like on the text that I could have read already, but now I couldn't because it was in Russian.
That's buck wild.
So that was my little experience.
What website did you get yours from?
I don't want to, talk about my crimes on a public forum on the podcast.
'Cause I got mine from, I was alternating. Here's how I did it. I
Cody,
had
let him
one
say it and then just
window.
put moans over it.
Yeah, please do. I had one window open that was Putlocker.
Yeah.
And another window open with 1, 2, 3 movies.
Okay.
And I was alternating between them. Here's why. I would pause one so that it could load, and then play the other until it stopped loading,
Oh
and then
my
pause
God.
that one. And then I jump back to Putlocker and play that one until it stopped.
All in 360p.
All in 360. They were both in 360p.
That's my nightmare. That whole situation's my nightmare.
Oh, it looked like a nightmare. Absolutely.
Well, I don't mean to brag, but I bought mine, and my quality was great.
Someone's got money. Someone's got money.
So I saw no dick, because there isn't any dick in these movies.
Here's
But
the
I saw
fucking
I
thing.
have this written down. I have written down to bring up why no dick. That's all it says.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this
The
movie.
difference between rated and unrated has never meant anything. It's always just been like, oh, you see like a shot a little bit earlier, or you see a little bit more of his butt. I've seen every fucking inch of Dakota Johnson's body over the course of these 3 movies, and I've not seen any peen. Not even a little bit.
And you know what's worse is it gets so close sometimes. Like the camera will be moving at a certain rate where once it hasn't stopped, you're like, oh, they have to show dick.
Yeah.
And then it just comes to a total halt.
Or it's panning down, and by the time it actually reaches down there, he's already in, and you're like, oh, fuck. It's a nice little
Yeah,
bait
and it's
switch
just
on me.
Dakota cheek.
Right.
I don't need more cheek. There's the moment especially when they're in the shower and it's It's there. Like, I went closer to my TV, which my computer, by the way, was hooked up to via HDMI. So the 360p was blown up to full size.
That's so unkind.
It was awful. But I looked for penis, and I found Nenis.
Well, it's been fun having you on the show.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a peen embargo, that's for sure.
Yes.
It's awful. I did want to mention that, too, because, like Cody mentioned, there's, with the extended versions and with the unrated version, there's no difference. You get more Dakota Johnson boob, and that's it. And honestly, you just get more of the extended scenes. The unrated versions don't mean more sex. They just mean more lip biting and more lingering shots. That's it.
I'm pretty sure that technically unrated, and Cody, you might know more about this than me, so feel free to correct me, but I think that unrated might just mean a longer version of the movie, and then the MPAA didn't see it.
Yeah, that could could check out.
Yeah, so I think it might not mean more sex, it just means extended movie.
Yeah, it's generally a catch-all for extended, but I think it works, like, in the marketing sense for 50 Shades to be like, oh, there's more stuff in here, when really, like, there's not additional scenes or, like, additional, like, shots or whatever for the most part. It's just,
dick.
It's longer. And no dick, and injustice to everyone. But they're just like, hey, if you buy the DVD, you'll get a little bit longer.
You'll get a longer, thicker version.
Oh, no.
Love me like you do.
This is the most unfun I've had during that.
Hi, welcome to Into the Unfun. So, your initial thoughts. We have no pain. What else?
I'm just gonna scan through some of my notes I've written down.
Yeah, let's shoot the shit. Let's just go all at it.
First thing I've written down, this is a basic take. This is a cold take. I'm not going to claim I'm the first person to think this, but I think that Christian is probably the least likable character ever put to screen.
Yeah, he's pretty despicable. Yeah.
I think it's this and then Jill from Jack and Jill.
I never thought I'd have to think about Jack and Jill in 2019.
Well, here you are.
God,
all right, next thing I've written down is I think the worst part about being rich is probably the whole Mr. and Mrs. thing. That would grind my gears.
Yeah, that's fair.
People being like, hey, Mr. Shao, what do you want for breakfast? I don't like it. Another cold take.
Let's just let Jacob have his own, 5-minute set right here.
Just get the podium. It's like, what do you think?
I'd have plenty to say.
Go ahead and do your type 5.
You know, I think my next one is a hot take. I think this one is hot.
Okay.
I cannot handle watching them do detective work right after doing BDSM.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it's super weird that first off, that they do BDSM. Secondly, that it's like a weird manipulative fight. Wow. And then she's like, that wasn't cool. And he's like, let's get down to business. And they just start drawing conclusions about suspects. I'm not into it.
Yeah, they're definitely not qualified to be doing any of the things they're doing.
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, they are like, these hands are clearly those of a woman. She must be working with Jack. Who are his accomplices?
Oh, God, my favorite is when they do the, enhance of the security footage.
Yes!
And it's just enhance. Jack in, a full beige outfit, top to bottom, and he's the most unrecognizable man in the world. And she's like, it's Jack, I know it. It's like, how do you know that?
He looks like he's in Yeezy Season 3.
That's the most basic man. That could be any man.
I would know that grainy chin anywhere.
It's so silly.
You know what? Christian redeemed himself a little bit for me because I think he's got a nice voice.
Great.
Yeah.
I think
work
he's
on the
dreamy.
keys.
Sue me.
I don't know. I kind of came back around to him on that one, so he had me there. Oh, okay. This is a good one. the excuses for them to have sex are worse than in any of the other movies. Like, in the other movies, it's like, you've been bad today. I know, Daddy. You put these on. That's what the rest of the movies are. But then now it's like, we lost this guy who was trailing us. They pull into a parking lot, and in moments, she is atop him. And he lasts about 45 seconds, and then they breathe so heavily.
That scene, I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the book-to-movie differences, but that one is a huge one. Because in the book, it's actually a covered parking lot, which makes a little bit more sense than just a parking lot on a side street.
Yeah.
That
wild. Does make more sense already.
Ugh.
Okay, I have one last observation, and then I'll pass it over.
Please.
I think the editing in this movie is kind of good. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
Welcome
the
to
one
your
scene that I know, absolutely. The one scene I noted in particular is she's at work, but she's dreaming about the butt plug.
Oh, that was very good.
The crosscuts were kind of really. I was like, am I really enjoying this? Because she, like, her assistant is like, Miss Gray, and all she can hear is, like, whoever was singing, like, The Weeknd or whoever, and then the butt plug in, and Christian being like, finally, we got a butt plug in there. And, I don't know. I thought it was artistic. I thought it was fun. And that made me be like, I guess this whole movie's great.
That's very good. I love it.
It was such a mood, too, because she's just, again, at her job, which she doesn't do work at, ever.
Nope.
Just
none at all.
Sipping her nice cup of tea, thinking about just getting absolutely hammered last night.
She's sipping her nice cup of lukewarm water.
And she's, like, smiling and so giddy about it, and it's
I've never
great.
seen someone smile about sex that way. Like, thinking back to being like, that was nice.
It's like a faint little memory you had. You're like, oh, remember that happened last Tuesday? Beautiful. Amazing.
One of the things I found incredibly wild about that scene, too, and every time that they're in the Red Room, actually, but when Christian always opens up those drawers, they're always meticulously organized, which I have to think, like, he goes in there at some point and organizes those drawers. Because if you were just an ordinary person, you would just throw shit in those drawers.
Right.
But he has, like, Alex by IKEA organizers in there for all of his individual butt plugs. It's like, now, Christian, take me through a YouTube walkthrough video of how you organize your Red Room, because now I'm genuinely curious.
I would love that. He's just like, now these butt plugs are a little finicky and they tend to roll off of the shelves, so I've installed some little dividers here to keep them in. Real nice. And they come in red, which is sort of the theme I'm going for, but really it's up to you.
I don't know if you can tell by the colors I have in here, but the motif and the ideas here are red and pink.
The idea here is Chinese New Year exploded.
Oh, no.
And also with just a hint of childhood trauma. Just a hint.
Just a touch, and an amuse-bouche.
Yeah.
Childhood trauma.
So much more than a hint of childhood trauma. Like, I always have to remember...
The walls are lined with childhood trauma. It is seeping through.
Like, every time I'm about to get, like, a little bit into, like, the steaminess of it, I have to be like, oh, wait, no, this is a product of some really dark stuff that the movie just barely touches on.
Absolutely.
Cody, what were some of your initial takeaways from this movie?
Some of my thoughts. What I noticed, especially in, like, the beginning, like, probably, like, first act, especially, like, the beginning montage stuff, is, like, there's definitely not a lot of dialogue.
No.
Especially in that segment, too. And that is obvious because there are so many music cues in the beginning of this movie that no two people can be talking for more than 30 to 60 seconds before they just go somewhere else and get carried away on a musical's, like a song cue, on a jet ski, or like murder shit's happening. It's just like for a full like 30-45 minutes, the conversations are just like, here's 60 seconds of dialogue that really means nothing and we don't know anything. We've learned nothing from this interaction. Also, here's a sexy pop song cover. Let's go. Or like, here's them having sex. Here you go. It's like, what is happening?
You know what I absolutely love, Cody? Is that you are such a legitimate film reviewer / critic, and yet you spend so much of your time talking about this weird vampire-inspired sex series.
Yeah, well.
And Jacob,
we all have our vices, Jacob.
That we do.
All right.
nobody's perfect.
Another thing I thought was great was that there's so many good fits in this film.
Mm-hmm.
They really cranked it out. All the wedding fits were great. All the, like, Rita Ora looked great in everything she put on her body. It was beautiful and amazing.
And also a crime, but yes.
She really rocks that chair that was tied to her back. I thought she pulled it off.
Yes, Style Trend 2019.
That's going in my lookbook.
That's on my Pinterest board. I've framed it and put it in my room. It's now just take it wherever.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today it's just a cozy day from home. Really wanted to unplug.
Oh my god. And also, one last thing. Back to the, like, Red Room toy situation.
Please.
There's one scene where Christian brings in a vibrator.
Yes.
And in the book, I don't remember how exactly it was laid out, but, like, it was just kind of like, oh, here's a vibrator. And, like, Anna's like, what the fuck? What? That's crazy. What is this? And this one, in the movie, he, like, takes it from the drawer, which is, like, a good distance away from where Anna is, like, tied up. He turns it on
lot of
where
dead
he turns it on while he's standing there. And he walks all the way back with it vibrating in his hands. And then just does it to her. But it's like he just walks for like 15 feet. Just like an active vibrator going on. And not doing anything.
An active vibrator. Yeah, an active bomb. Yep.
My drag name is Active Vibrator.
That's such a good observation. And don't forget that his next line of dialogue is, "This is how you make me feel."
Right, and it also becomes the worst scene ever because it's horribly abusive and awful. But it's such a fucking roller coaster of emotions.
It's really interesting to see the series not give a fuck about how problematic it is. Like, they know your complaints, and they don't give a shit.
Oh, no. No, absolutely not. That scene in particular I found incredibly weird because someone got turned on. They were like, shit, is edging my thing? And that's the whole thing. That's all I could think about during that. I was like, Christian, why aren't you just, like, getting Anna off by, like, edging instead of just being an asshole and talking about, like, revenge in this situation?
Dude, I agree. Because when I was watching that, I thought that he was trying out a new thing by edging her. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be good for her. We're really gonna enjoy this. And then she got mad about it, and he was mad. And I was like, what? Stop it. That's a great positive thing that you two can do together. This doesn't have to be a revenge thing. Get back to it.
Jacob's now their relationship coach.
I would love to be their sex coach.
They
just
need
stand
help
there
so
going,
bad.
You edger, Christian.
Jacob, if you could just get them to talk to each other, I think all of us would be incredibly grateful.
That's what I'm saying. They just need to sit down. He needs to go put his vibrators in the closet that is 2 minutes across the room. And then walk all the way back so they can discuss.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things I do want to talk about are some of the differences between the book that we just read and this movie.
Hell yeah.
Some are minor, and they don't really matter. Like, Anna throws her wedding bouquet. Mia catches it instead of Elliot. And so she, like, throws it to Elliot. Now, one of the things, too, when you're talking about looks, Cody, is that going away look that Dakota Johnson was wearing, that, like, nude suit.
So banging. So banging.
God damn.
It's so good.
She looked incredible.
Yeah, there were some looks, and like in the conversation where she is intentionally getting ready after she thinks he cheats, and so she's like having a fight with him while like standing naked and getting ready in her fancy dress. Yeah. I wasn't sure how that was going to end up in the movie, because in the book it's talking about like, this is my sexiest purple dress. And we don't really see it. Like, we just see her in like the stockings and the underwear.
Yeah.
And then immediately jump cuts and like her hair is done, her makeup's done. It's like, okay. But I was like, all right, all of her outfits are pretty big and throughout all of this, which is great.
Did a good job.
Some other things that were different. During the honeymoon, Anna was supposed to buy Christian that fancy camera. The reason being to compare Christian's photos and Jack's photos, and that doesn't happen. There's also no talk of a prenup.
Yep.
It wasn't a huge thing in the book, but was kind of a thing.
It was definitely a moment, yeah.
How did you all feel about Gia Mateo in the movie? Who's the architect?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Yeah. That was, so I was watching that, and my roommate came into my room during that scene and was like, oh, what is this? And was interested. And I was like, don't get too interested. And I think that speaks to how, I think that scene can work on its own.
Yeah.
I think that scene has legs.
Sure, yeah.
One of the things that I found incredibly valuable about that in particular is the fact that she's also in John Tucker Must Die. And I kept looking at her like, why do I know you? Why do you look so familiar? The car chase is a little bit different. So we talked about like the parking lot structure at the end was supposed to be in a like vertical upward parking lot structure, which makes more sense for the sex scene. But the way that it goes in the book, right, is it's on the 420, which is this like massive bridge that goes across the lakes that we have here in Seattle. And instead it just goes through, now this is a hyper local reference to Seattle, but it goes on the Seattle Viaduct, which recently just closed like 2 weekends ago. So the freeway that you saw this on, you can't drive on anymore, which I found kind of interesting from my perspective of like, oh, you can tell that this will be dated in a couple of years.
Sure.
And it means that all those couples out there looking to recreate the sex scenes from 50 Shades will never be able to complete their quest.
I hope so, honestly.
That's my one goal in life, to stop those
Yeah, my
fuckers in
travel
their
plans
tracks.
are done.
Yes. The other thing, and Jacob, you probably noticed this too because you've watched the movies so much in the past few days,
Yes.
is that Taylor, who is part of Christian security, and what's her face, Mrs. Jones, are supposed to be a thing in the books, but they're not in the movies. And it felt very striking in this one to me, more than the other ones. That they are
Mrs. Jones being, what's her name?
Being the housekeeper and maid for Christian.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would have been nice.
They were kind of like the only safe couple in
Right.
the book. And so for them to be gone was kind of a personal crime, I feel
I think it would have been nice to show a cute couple.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think so too. So I want to get to Christian in just a second, but the one that's like major as far as plot points goes, right, is the fact that Jack comes in and grabs Anna in a Scala, which is completely different to how it goes in the book.
Yeah, for sure.
Cody, do you remember in specifics how it happens in the book? Because I know Christian is out. He's in New York.
Yeah.
And Anna and Kate, they go to get drinks, which happens in the movie as well.
Yes. Yeah.
But in the book, it's different. I think he was already caught.
Yeah, I think
she
it was
comes back.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, if she had got there any earlier, or like it would have been that. But it was never like an actual confrontation, I don't think. Everyone else at Escala is trying to like contain the situation or something. At least from what I remember.
No, that makes sense to me. Because instead, it just felt like Sawyer was standing there and like, God damn it, I don't get paid enough for this job. Like,
shit.
Yeah, it felt awful to me. So I want to save Christian, aka Jamie Dornan, singing for when we get into the music bit, but because it's so much on its own. But the proposal is also different, which I felt like was kind of important. So Jacob, in the book, Elliot proposes to Catherine, or Kate, as she prefers to be called, at a fancy dinner that they have all together as a big group, and then they go out to a club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes so much more sense than you imagine Christian's brother just screaming a proposal over this loud bass beat in a club that supposedly means nothing to them emotionally.
Yeah. By that time in the movie, I was barely paying attention.
Yeah, that's fair.
I felt sort of offended that the movie would even ask me to care about a second couple.
That's fair.
The book doesn't try to make you care about it either, and yet they're like, don't you see? They're in love. You're like, what? I don't care about any of these people.
Sure, they can be in love.
I guess.
That's fine. Yeah, good for them.
Can we talk about another difference? Another big difference?
Yes, please.
The fact that Ray is not there at all.
Yes, I was just going to get to that.
Okay.
So, Jacob, in the book, anyways, there's this major plot point that happens in this where Anna's dad, Ray, is in Portland. He's going on this guys' day, gonna go fish, do masculine things, and they get hit by a drunk driver, and he's in the hospital because he broke his leg and all this stuff. And this is a massive plot point in this book of Anna.
It's in half of the book.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Anna goes back to Portland and is contemplating a whole bunch of stuff because her and Christian are kind of having a tiff at that time, and she celebrates her surprise birthday party down there and all these things. It's a massive thing, and it's just nowhere in the movie to be found at all, which is buck wild.
I guess that for me, as someone who's only seen the movies, that's fair, because 50 Shades Freed had about 90% more plot than the other two movies combined.
Absolutely.
That's true.
As
it does
is,
have
so
a lot
I don't
of
know
plot.
I don't think they needed the additional subplot.
How did you both feel about the epilogue in the credits?
What was there I turned the movie off the moment it faded to black.
Jacob!
This was a fuck up on my part.
You watched hours of movie, Jacob, and you couldn't stay for one more minute.
For one more minute. This was a serious mistake, but I would love to hear what goes on in the epilogue.
Cody, what happens?
I'm actually... Nope, I also missed out this. I thought you meant the montage. I saw that, but I also checked out immediately when it finished.
Okay, well, we have to talk about the montage in a second, because the montage is fucking buck wild.
Yes.
But the epilogue at the end, so we get a credits, and it goes for 30 seconds, and then it fades. And it basically gets into the epilogue that we read in the book. Where Teddy is there, their child, their boy that they call Ted.
Their child's name is Ted, and I hate it.
And he's running around, and Jamie Dornan actually looks like Jamie Dornan because he's playing with a kid, and he looks like actual dad Jamie instead of tightened up Christian, which is nice. And then Anna is sitting on a picnic blanket, incredibly pregnant, and she's reading the book by the author that she had been talking to earlier on in 50 Shades Freed. And then they talk about oh yeah, this is our daughter. And they still do the, they don't do the barefoot and pregnant thing. So they cut out the fact that he's still at the end of this hasn't changed at all.
Right.
Which is awful.
Yep, I hate that.
And then it goes, Christian will return in Infinity War.
Yes, thank you.
The most daring crossover in cinema history.
Yes.
What if all the Avengers fucked?
That has been explored, I'm sure.
I feel
absolutely 100%.
I feel even back in my day when I was still on Tumblr, I saw that happen.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, so tell me about this montage, because this montage fucks me up a little bit.
It's so bad. It's just the greatest hits of the last 3 movies.
Oh, yeah.
Many of which were in the movie we had just watched.
Yeah, that we just saw.
That we just saw with our own eyes. It's off. I hate that it reminded me of that stupid proposal keychain that was engraved with the word yes and was lighting up. I hate it. That's my least favorite thing in the whole series. I hate that thing so much.
As soon as I saw that, I knew you were going to be pissed off.
It's so aggravating. They have so much money. Why didn't you get a shitty-ass keychain that says yes with a little stupid LED light?
I was fucked up by that montage, honestly, especially because of the fact that this whole movie felt like a Breaking Dawn ripoff to me. Yeah. Starting off with the wedding and this, like, fancy honeymoon, but to end it with a montage, I felt so pissed. I was like, I have no investment in this series. You don't have the rights to do this yet. It was criminal. Okay, I want to at least spend a moment on the music in this movie.
Hell yeah. Because
the people who were able to sing on this soundtrack is a crime. There's a lot of people. There were a lot of songs that stuck out in my head anyways. The most notable ones, right? Like, we know Ellie Goulding's on here. We know Sia's on here. If it's a 50 Shades movie, you know The Weeknd is going to be on here.
Right.
Of course.
Like, they got Rita Ora and Liam Payne to, like, do the song for this movie. But there's 2 songs on here that fucked me up. One, the fact that Jamie Dornan sings in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much of that they had in the rated version, but in the unrated version, it felt like a fucking music video.
It wasn't a lot, but it did feel too long, I'll tell you that.
I gotta disagree with you there. I think that it had the perfect amount of Jamie Dornan singing. And you know what? Not even the perfect amount. I wish it would have gone longer.
Oh my god.
It just
he had his, like, Jackson Maine moment, and I'm proud of him, I guess, but it's just it seemed so weird in the plot, and then the fact that Rita Ora and the other dude is just like, we've known this man his whole life, and we've never seen him sing. It's just
that was interesting, because it's like, who is he practicing with?
Right. Who trained
He's just that naturally gifted, Jacob. Duh.
Right.
He's perfect.
I wouldn't
He's
know.
Christian Grey.
Yeah, he was born this way.
Oh my god.
The song that stood out to me the most is when Anna is driving Christian's fancy car.
Yeah.
Right before before the car chase scene starts. And folks, I had to look up the lyrics for this to make sure that I wasn't losing my mind. But it seems like you also have opinions, Jacob, so go ahead and tell me all your things.
I just thought, like, what a tonal switch from the rest of the movie. That they're, in reality, they're fleeing somebody who wishes them harm, so it should be a scary moment. But the music is like, and they're like having a fun couple moment, then they smash afterwards. It was a shock to the senses, but not one that was unwelcome.
It was so good. So this song is called Big Spender. It's by Kiana Brown. And for folks that haven't watched this movie, please don't, for the sake of this. But just a few notable lyrics from this include, but are not limited to, Big Baller, Bougie Shot Caller, No fuck boys allowed in my aura. Mrs. Want a mister, not for his dollar. If you're trying to flex, don't bother, because I'm a big spender. Please know that while
poetry,
it's honestly like snaps, please.
Everyone.
Thank you, Kiana, for this gift. I just love this idea of, throughout all of this, we get a little bit of, like, Anna's Ocean's 8 material, and this song kind of stands out to me of that, of like, yep, Anna doesn't give a fuck. And that's it.
I did like the little glimpses we got into Anna being kind of badass, being her own woman. Like that moment, the one where she's like, step off my man. I liked it. I liked seeing her in her element.
Yeah, it's very good. She gives no fucks with Gia. It was nice to actually see the bank scene kind of visualized.
Her being in full sweats, too, is the best.
Was a mood. Her taking the bank guy's phone and just fucking throwing it into the puddle.
Hell yeah.
It was very good. I loved it a lot. Are there final thoughts that we have from this movie?
I mean, I guess this I'm sure is the most said thing about 50 Shades. But like, what a bad representation of how two people should interact with each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll feel bad if I don't say that at least once.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's justified.
That's fair.
Well, it's been said, so my final observation is done.
We've talked about this quite a bit, but the fact that these people have known each other about 7 weeks, and in those 7 weeks have gotten married and are now pregnant, and during that time have not talked to each other at all, is honestly a testament to, like, that it seems like they're on some sort of, like, CBS challenge that I'm not aware of, like, how many life events can you get through without just communicating with the partner you're with at all.
Right.
It would be more miraculous if it wasn't viewed as #goals by so many people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I also think that, like, the movie is cast in a way more flattering light when you think of it as one of those, like, weird porn videos where you're like, wow, the story in this one is really good, and then you get kind of sucked into it. If I organically came across this video on, like, Pornhub, then it would be the best watch of my life. But nay, I watched this video on both Putlocker and 123 Movies hooked up to a television.
Next week, Cody, we start our next season.
Hell yeah, dude.
Which I guess, joke's on you, Jacob. You're part of our season finale, which I didn't realize until just now.
All right.
Now, one thing that we need to do before Jacob gets to the fanfic that I've been so excitedly anticipating this whole time is we need to thank our patrons. Now, I feel personally like it would be inappropriate for us to release this episode without talking about the movie Valentine's Day, but that's just me. So I have pulled up the Valentine's Day cast, which, if you have forgotten, is a banger.
I have forgotten, so I appreciate the refresher.
Yeah.
It's a banger of people, is all I have to say. So I'm gonna thank Audrey Cullen, who's one of our $10 sponsors. And Audrey, this week I think you're gonna have to be Liz, who's played by Anne Hathaway.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
So there you
Audrey's
go.
winning.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Taylor Brown Town Lautner.
Hot damn.
Hot damn. Who's gonna be...
If you don't give her Taylor Lautner, I'm gonna fucking quit this podcast.
You have all the opportunities to give her Taylor Lautner. I don't have to give her Taylor Lautner.
I mean, she has to be Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner played a guy named Willie in this. Are you kidding me?
Fine.
He played Willie?
Yeah.
Taylor, you're gonna be Willie,
So,
played by Taylor Lautner. Are you happy?
If you don't
Wow.
remember, this is when Taylor Lautner and Taylor Swift were a thing. And so they were, like,
Yes.
making out during this whole movie.
Wait, is that real?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
real.
Was it Swiftner? Was that the thing?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was like Taylor to the 2 degree.
Taylor to the 2 degree. How did...
Allie
Their
is a
ship
teacher.
name.
She's shaping the young minds of America. As we speak.
I don't teach math!
Uh,
I have not taken a math class since high school. Get off me. Thank you to Katie Weber, who is a fantastic $10 sponsor, who is obviously... I mean, there's no joke. Like, it has to be that you are going to be... This is so obvious. Like, I don't understand why I even have to say this out loud. But you're going to be Hector Elizondo, who's so iconic. And when I think about happy movies, I think about Hector. You know?
that was such a weird build-up for that name.
Yeah,
I
I was
just-
waiting for it to
that
be
was
like
so loaded,
an
and then
A-list
it just
superstar.
plateaued.
How do you not... First of all, fuck both of you.
Honestly fair.
Hector? Pretty Woman Hector? Runaway Bride Hector? When you think of Julia Roberts, you don't think of Hector?
Hector's fine. Like, we're here having a great time with Hector,
We are.
and that's great. But you hyped that up for 45 straight minutes.
Yeah.
How sick this
An hour-long
next name
drum
was
roll.
gonna be. All right. Shout out to Simon Motherfucking Steele, $25 sponsor. Let's go, Simon Steele.
I'd shout you out, but I'd get snot on my laptop.
Gross. Who's gonna be Holden Wilson, played by Bradley Cooper. Which,
Thank
if
you.
that
I
is
was
not a
waiting for you to do
precursor
that.
to Jackson Maine and A Star is Born, I don't know what is.
That obviously is. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Tag yourself. I am definitely Ashton Kutcher's photo on Google right now.
Oh my god.
Jacob, I've been waiting for this for like an hour.
You
So-
have. Let me pull it up. I have so many tabs open. So let me see.
Jacob. I tried this whole episode in a very concerted effort to not say your name in the way that I say Jacob Black's name, because I know that you're not the same person, but
Let it out once. Give me a Jacob once.
it sounds so different when I'm sick, because it sounds pleading and it sounds desperate in a way that like Bella would, and that's not really the vibe that I'm going for. I'm going for more so of like a disappointed and like heartbroken way. But I also don't want to give you like a parental vibe, you know? But
Right.
that's fine. Mainly when you say things like this, what I'm trying to say is that I feel a little bit like Jacob. And
I
that's just kind of
so
how I
noticed
feel.
the nuance that went into that. Don't think I didn't.
There's a lot of layers in that particular one.
It really did.
Yeah.
Listen, we're all Shrek underneath, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I feel like that's a pretty good build-up to this
Oh, God.
piece of literature that I have procured for you two.
Oh no.
A quick precursor.
Oh, God.
This is nasty.
What does that mean? Everything I read to Cody every week is nasty.
I'm going to assume that this is appropriate for this segment, given what I know about what you read weekly. So I definitely wouldn't want to let the author go unnamed. However, it's just a screen name. I'm on fanfiction.net.
Oh, that's perfect.
And this is going to be by Howard Digbert.
Nice.
Oh, no.
That is all one word, no spaces. Howard Digbert. Shout out, Howard.
Pour one out.
You're the master. Yeah.
Dab for Digbert.
He's sort of a Tolkien-esque figure to me.
Oh, my Christ.
The title of this, and before I say the title, I just want to say I'm actually going to be reading the whole thing because it is only one paragraph.
Okay, great.
Okay.
The title of this is Ronald McDonald X Windy Smut. And we're off.
Cody, did you tell Jacob that he needed to bring Twilight fanfiction? Or
He
just any
asked and
fucking
I said he could do whatever he wanted.
All right. Well,
I took that and ran with it.
Yeah.
all right. This is your space now.
It was dark. Ronald and Wendy were alone watching TV in the living room together. Mayor McCheese was murdered today. The Hamburglar is suspected to be behind the assassination. The news gets more depressing nowadays, said Ronald, depressingly. Nothing good ever happens anymore. Wendy looked up at Ronald. What do you mean? She said. We can make something good happen. Ronald was confused. Wendy walked over to the kitchen counter. You know what I could use right now, Ronald? She asked. What? Ronald asked. Wendy giggled seductively. A Big Mac, she said as she raised her ass into the air, trying to turn Ronald on. Ronald walked over to Wendy, turned her over, and began kissing her very lustfully. Wendy did not want this to end. In fact, she wanted more. She wanted Ronald's big, fat clown cock in her ass. Her vagina...
All right.
vagina is like Niagara Falls. I'll be right back, he said as he went upstairs to his bedroom. He opened his drawer and got a fresh condom out of the box that he had hidden under his clothes. He went back downstairs to his beloved Wendy to continue his sexual evening with her. When he got back, Wendy was completely naked. You ready? She said seductively. Ronald studied her body. Her breasts were as big as Birdie's, maybe even bigger. Her ass was as wide as Colonel Sanders' chicken farm in Kentucky. And her vagina Her vagina was as
Jacob,
red
do it, you
as
coward.
raw hamburger meat
Oh
and as
my God.
fuzzy as a chicken. I'm ready, said Ronald as he pulled down his pants. Wendy was amazed at Ronald's perfect penis. The tip was big and the middle had some veins in it. Ronald walked over to Wendy, put the condom on, and slammed his dick into Wendy's ass. Wendy moaned loudly. It was everything that she had dreamed about in every wet dream she ever had about Ronald. "Oh, Ronald!" shouted Wendy. She was about to come, and so was Ronald. Semen flew all over the living room. Ronald got up. "Time to prove you're a nice little lady," he said. He grabbed onto his dick. It was time for Wendy to give Ronald the blowing of his life. Wendy crawled over to Ronald and put her lips around Ronald's meat stick. It tasted so good she was loving it.
Well, that was definitely written by someone that's had sex before.
I'd like some snaps, please.
Sorry,
Okay,
of course,
I'm sorry. Thank you for reading that whole paragraph
Right.
out loud.
I will say that the way that fanfiction.net is formatted, this is all one paragraph with no breaks.
Oh my Christ.
As God intended.
Oh my God, Jacob. That's definitely, I think, the most obscene thing that's ever been on this show. Wow. Well, thank you for that treat, and thank you for your honesty and bravery of bringing that into the space. I'm definitely not going to be haunted forever by that.
I mean, I already am haunted, not to mention that I did not read this ahead of time. So I was experiencing this at the same time as you, and I think that we really shared in a moment.
Yeah, I don't read mine ahead of time either. I think it's for the best. Jacob, where the fuck can we find you online?
Well, first off, I hate that was my outro.
This is what you deserve, Jacob. You did this.
The Big Bag Special Sauce played me out.
Where else can we find you?
I have a couple YouTube channels I work on.
All right.
One of them is... No, you know what? I'm going to reclaim that flex and say it was a good flex.
No, it's a good flex.
Thank you. One of them is called More Than Enough, youtube.com/More Than Enough, and we make sketch videos every single week, if that tickles your fancy.
It does. Yes.
If that gets your Big Mac special sauce flowing.
All right. It does not do that,
No.
actually.
I additionally am on a YouTube channel called youtube.com/prettymuchit, and we talk over movies. And hey, if you like Twilight, we did a Twilight video, and it's like 30 minutes long.
Perfect.
So you're gonna wanna grab your McDonald's.
Oh my
You know,
God.
you're gonna want to grab your Baconators and really settle in.
If we've learned anything about the listeners of this pod, we know they're horny for Twilight content.
Hell
You
yeah.
know, so
Absolutely, and now they're really getting going for some fast food based smut. Get those meat sticks ready.
God, I'm
Allie,
moving
you have
forever.
to stop
Okay,
him, otherwise
all right,
he won't
all right.
stop. You
I
did.
feel like he's never going to be able to stop. All right, well, as we say here in Seattle,
Get bit.
and get whipped. Jesus Christ.
This is an Earbud Media production. You can find us on Twitter at Earbud Media and listen to the rest of our shows. You can find this show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, as well as intothetwilight.show. You can send us an email at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can also become a sponsor of the show or buy some merch at intothetwilight.bigcartel.com. Our art is done by Maddie Padilla, who you can find at YourGhostHost44 on Instagram, and our music is done by Eli Krause, you can find at Eli Sauerkraus and KrausFilms.com. The intro and outro is by KB Smith, you can find at KB__Smith on Twitter. You can find Allie on Twitter at Into Wild Places, and you can find me at Dyke Discourse.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.